Hello and welcome to Kalam IS Academy. Today in the NewsKase session, we'll be talking about the proposed India and UK free trade agreement. In this free trade agreement, we'll be discussing the key points from the newspaper, and then we'll be talking about the different regional trade agreements on the basis of understanding what are these different type of trade agreements. So let's start, and I welcome you back to NewsKase. First thing, we need to have a basic understanding of different regional trade agreements which are there all around the world, which starts from the preferential trade agreement, that is PTA, then a more comprehensive is the free trade agreement. Post this, we have the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement and Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, and post all these, this becomes a custom union, and with custom union we will be having further a common market, and with that more comprehensive part will be an economic market or economic union. So these certain key definitions and key understanding of different prospect we will be discussing today in the first part. Then we will be talking about the news which was there in different newspapers, and we have taken the news from the Hindu. So let's see the key basic context. What is preferential trade agreement? When two or more countries gives preference to some goods and reduces or eliminates the tariff duties or other different cuts they do, so that is called a preferential trade agreement. They come to an agreement, and based on that the preference will be given to some of the goods. Likewise, if there are 100 goods, out of those 100 goods which are being traded between those countries, the 20 goods are being listed, and these goods will be either tariff free or there will be reduction on the import duty. And with that, this list is called positive list. That is the duty free list. So the preferential trade agreement is the first step between the transactions of goods. After that, there comes the free trade agreement. The free trade agreement, if we talk about, so it is among the nations where largely most of the goods are being imported and exported by reducing trade barriers. What are those trade barriers? That shows liberalizing the trade restrictions. The things which are restricting the trade or which are making trade difficult, they are liberalizing it. Like there will be import duty cut, there will be certain support related to export aspect, and better market access will be provided. And with that, better cooperation is being seen as a major advantage into it, where few things are being taken care of. Likewise, if the two countries are having FTA, that is free trade agreement, then the countries will have greater market access. Further, this will increase the investments, will make the goods availability and availability of raw materials cheaper, and that will stimulate the economic growth and economic activity in both the countries. This prospect is largely being considered in the cooperation aspect, and it will also give an comparative advantage to the FTA members against the non-FTA country. For example, if India will be having an FTA with UK, so the products of India in UK will be cheaper, will get better market access than the other countries, for example China, which will not be having a FTA with UK. So that is the competitive advantage, and this further helps in economic integration with better economic participation in both the countries. So with the FTA aspect, it becomes more imperative there. Now with FTA, there comes a list that is called negative list. Negative list, in India's context, we call it exclusion list, where few number of goods, some number of goods will be excluded from the tariff-free aspect or tariff-free commodities or tariff lines, products. That means if there are 100 items, out of those 100 items, 80 items will be largely tariff-free and 20 items only be excluded. And this list will be called as negative list. If we come up here in this entire segment, the positive list was with preferential trade agreement, where some of the goods were duty free. Whereas in FTA, that is free trade agreement, some of the goods where the duties will be levied. So the duties will be levied, that list will be called negative list. So this was the basic difference between the positive list and negative list into that. Now with FTA, there are certain few more things will come. So just a minute. Post FTA, we have another, that is CECA and CEPA, that is Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement and Comprehensive Economic Participation, Cooperation, and another is Participation Agreement. So two things. The most important part about these two are they are more comprehensive in nature, where list of items are being more identified in this segment. Likewise, this Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement makes certain tariff-free duties, make duties tariff-free, and they list the commodities which can be made tariff-free or duty-free in phased manner. So CECA, what it will does, it is more comprehensive, will eliminate tariff or duties in phased manner, largely on goods. But more comprehensive thing is this participation agreement or partnership agreement. This CEPA, that is Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, this shows a different picture or more comprehensive picture, because it not just includes goods, it also includes the services, the investments, IPR, and other commodities also at the same time. So this becomes more comprehensive. Usually between nations, first PTA is signed, then FTA is signed, then post that this CECA is signed, and then this CAPA, that is Comprehensive Economic Cooperation, is being signed. And the major purpose is trade facilitation. What is the major purpose? Trade facilitation between countries so that more economic engagements can be made forward. Now, the other part of it, the another level, that is custom union, that you need to know. In the custom union, what is happening? That there will be trade on zero duty among the members of that custom union. and there will be a common duty or common tariff duty with non-members. For example, the SACU and European Union. मर्कर्सर्स भी हैं जहां पे पैराग्वे, ब्राजील, अर्जेंटीना, ये सारी कंट्रीज का ग्रुप है कस्टम यूनियन का. व्हाट दे डू, एशियान है, व्हाट दे डू अमंग द मेंबर्स, फॉर एग्जांपल एशियान है, अमंग द मेंबर्स ऑफ एशियान there will be no tariff duty on the transactions of good, but they will be having a common tariff duty for other nations who are not member of ASEAN. Clear with the custom duties and custom union? Now the common market. In the common market, one more step they go forward, and in that the custom unions is accompanied with freely moving labor and capital. So there will not be any further charge or duties or taxation on freely moving labor and capital at the same time. So from one country one can invest into another country. That is European Union की market की अगर हम बात कर ले, so there is free movement of labor and capital in European Union countries. That is also called Schengen countries because they have made so far. Now the final thing comes where with economic market, and within the economic market it is along with the common market, this aspect they have a common fiscal and monetary policy. That is the taxation policy is same, the expenditure receipt policy, that is the monetary policy, fiscal policy management is same, and with the monetary policy the rates which they decide largely are also similar. Like especially in many countries in the European Union they have the same kind of stuff. So with these aspects there are different type of economic integration, and with that we start with the preferential trade agreement, फिर FTA, फिर CECA, and then custom unions, common market and economic market. अब थोड़े से एग्जाम्पल वाइज समझ लेते हैं तो आपको ये चीजें और क्लियर हो जाएंगी इसी एस्पेक्ट में. अब जैसे इंडिया का मर्कोसोर जो कंट्रीज हैं उनके साथ, दिस इंक्लूड्स अर्जेंटीना, पैराग्वे, ब्राजील एंड उरुग्वे. ठीक है, ये 2004 में पीटीए हुआ था और 2009 में हमारा इनके साथ पीटीए इंप्लीमेंट हुआ था. अब यहाँ पे क्या है, earlier Venezuela was also part of it but it has been removed. So in Mercosur countries के साथ इंडिया का जो पीटीए है वहां पर क्या है, फॉर एग्जांपल कुछ ऐसे गुड्स होंगे which are largely duty free import, so that will come under preferential trade agreement जहां पे कुछ गुड्स को प्रेफरेंस दिया गया. और ये जो कुछ नंबर ऑफ गुड्स जो थे जो ड्यूटी फ्री थे, ये जिस लिस्ट में होंगे उस लिस्ट को हम कहेंगे पॉजिटिव लिस्ट. ठीक है, फेयर इनफ. नाउ कम अ स्टेप फॉरवर्ड विथ एफटीए. नाउ अब एफटीए के एस्पेक्ट में अगर हम देखेंगे तो अगर एफटीए के एस्पेक्ट में जाएं, सो फॉर एग्जांपल मान लो इंडिया है और श्रीलंका है, हम दो कंट्रीज का फॉर से एफटीए है, इंडिया और श्रीलंका का एफटीए. तो इंडिया और श्रीलंका के एफटीए में क्या होगा, मोस्ट ऑफ द गुड्स जो होंगे वो क्या होंगे, ड्यूटी फ्री होंगे या बहुत ही लेस निग्लिजिबल ड्यूटी के साथ होंगे, इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट, जस्ट टू प्रमोट ट्रेड फैसिलिटेशन. करेंटली इंडिया इज हैविंग एफटीए विद 13 मेजर कंट्रीज लाइक कंट्रीज ऑफ सार्क, ऑस्ट्रेलिया. ऑस्ट्रेलिया के साथ अभी पास तो हो गया एफटीए बट इंप्लीमेंट नहीं हुआ. पोस्ट दिस देयर कम्स CECA and CEPA. Just give me a minute. With CECA and CEPA, अब जैसे हमने UAE के साथ किया, एग्जाम्पल कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक पार्टनरशिप एग्रीमेंट. अब यहां पे क्या बेनिफिट्स होंगे CEPA के? पहली चीज ट्रेड फैसिलिटेशन, दूसरी चीज गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज दोनों का आदान प्रदान होगा। द थर्ड पार्ट इज आईपीआर रिलेटेड इश्यूज का ख्याल रखा जाएगा। फोर्थ पार्ट इज जो अदर एस्पेक्ट्स हैं ट्रांजैक्शंस के उनको भी और बेटर किया जाएगा, सो दैट द पार्टनरशिप कैन बी more comprehensive to an extent, and this will give further the competitive and cooperative advantage to both the countries. Fair enough? अगर उसी की जगह CECA होता तो largely it was related to reducing the tariffs and duties in phased manner, so that will be further proposed. After this, let's go with the other part, that is custom union. अब कस्टम यूनियन के बारे में मैंने आपको बताया, और से फिर से हम एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं यूरोपियन यूनियन का। अब जब हम यूरोपियन यूनियन की बात करेंगे तो विद इन द यूरोपियन यूनियन द कंट्रीज विच आर पार्ट ऑफ दिस यूरो जोन आई वुड से और शेंगेन, उनमें क्या है, जीरो ड्यूटी है ऑन गुड्स के मूवमेंट पे और बाकी चीजों पे। वहीं पे दे हैव ए कॉमन टैरिफ फॉर नॉन मेंबर्स। फॉर एग्जांपल कोई कंट्री एशिया की है तो जब वो इनसे ट्रेड करेगी तो व्हाट विल बी देयर विल बी अ कॉमन टैरिफ, चाहे वो यूरोपियन यूनियन की किसी भी कंट्री के साथ करेगी। सो दैट विल बी सिमिलर लाइंस, ऑन द सिमिलर लाइंस लार्जली। अपार्ट फ्रॉम इट, एक थोड़ा और ऊपर अगर बढ़ेंगे तो आ जाएगा कॉमन मार्केट। यहां पे भी आप यूरोपियन यूनियन को एग्जांपल में ले सकते हैं बिकॉज दे हैव दिस शेंगेन वीजा, और शेंगेन वीजा, इफ somebody is having this Schengen visa, he can freely move and rotate within Europe, all over the Europe Union countries. The custom union plus freely moving labor and capital. Apart from it, the economic market. इकोनॉमिक मार्केट में क्या है, कॉमन मार्केट तो है ही है, प्लस कॉमन फिस्कल एंड मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी भी है। सो दे आर फ्यू कंट्रीज विच आर हैविंग द सेम मैनर फिस्कल एंड मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी देयर। क्लियर दिस पार्ट कंप्लीटली? नाउ लेट्स मूव अ बिट फॉरवर्ड टू द न्यूज विच वाज देयर। India UK free trade agreement, this was a news in the Hindu, where the proposed 26 chapters are there which are largely being discussed, which includes the goods, services and investments and IPR related issues, where the fair and balanced FTA is being proposed so that it can further cover 90% of the tariff lines. That is, the products, 90% of the products will be duty free. Also, the purpose of the FTA is to stimulate the economic growth and employment opportunities in both the countries, India as well as United Kingdom. Then, helping diversifying the supply chain from India to UK and to an extent UK to India, certain products, and easier and cheaper for more businesses to business across the borders. अब ड्यूटी फ्री ट्रेड होगा तो बिजनेसेस के लिए चीपर होगा, राइट? And when it is businesses के लिए cheaper होगा, so they will do more business, and this will further facilitate the trade between the countries. For Indian industry, they are aiming and demanding greater access for its skilled professionals from sectors like IT, healthcare in the UK market, and also their access for different goods at nil custom duties. On the other hand, UK is also seeking something significant, that is to cut the import duties on goods such as scotch, whiskey, automobiles, lamb meat, chocolates and certain confectionery items. The Britain is also looking for their service sector to come to India and work in India, and for that they are planning for UK services in Indian market in the FTA, so that the telecommunication, legal and financial services like banking and financial insurance services can be better incorporated into the Indian market. अब ब्रिटेन के लिए सबसे बड़ा चीज क्या है? इंडियन एक कंजम्पशन बेस्ड मार्केट है, बड़ी कंजम्पशन बेस्ड मार्केट है, एंड फॉर अ कंट्री लाइक ब्रिटेन विच पोस्ट ब्रेक्सिट, उनकी अभी इकोनॉमिक कंडीशंस बहुत संभली नहीं है, दे आर इन अ पुअर कंडीशन टू अ लार्ज एक्सटेंट, सो दे आर लुकिंग दिस FTA एज अ ग्रेटर डील for them to again restable their economy and grow. So for that, they are looking forward to it. Then one important point from prelims perspective, that is rules of origin. What is this rules of origin? Which is an important issue in this agreement. The rules of origin provision prescribes minimal processing that should happen in a FTA country, that is free trade agreement country, so that the final manufactured product may be called originating good in that country. मतलब किसी FTA country में जो आपका मैन्युफैक्चर्ड गुड है या जो दूसरी कंट्री में आ रहा है, फॉर एग्जांपल यूके है और इंडिया में उसको भेजना है ये चीज, तो इसमें जो प्रोसेसिंग है वो मिनिमल रहे, सो दैट ये कहा जा सके दिस इज फ्रॉम द ओरिजिनेटिंग कंट्री, दिस गुड इज ओरिजिनेटिंग फ्रॉम दैट FTA कंट्री. यहां पर एक और प्रोस्पेक्ट है. If they have an FTA, why this provision is used, what is the most important thing about is that under this provision, a country that has inked an FTA with India, for example, UK ने India से FTA कर लिया, so that they cannot dump the goods from some third country in the Indian market just putting the label of their country. For example, कोई product था, UK ने क्या किया, फिनलैंड से एक्वायर किया और फिनलैंड का वो प्रोडक्ट यूके ने अपना लेबल लगा दिया, मेड इन यूके और समथिंग लाइक दैट, एंड दे आर सेलिंग डंपिंग इन इंडिया. सो दे कांट डू दिस. दिस इज रूल्स ऑफ ओरिजिन एंड दिस इज अ इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोविजन विच इंडिया वांट्स टू बी टेक इन FTA. ये आपको याद रखना रूल्स ऑफ ओरिजिन अपने एग्जामिनेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से. दिस हेल्प्स इन डंपिंग, कंटेनिंग द डंपिंग ऑफ गुड्स. सो आपको एक लाइन हमेशा याद रखनी है कि जो रूल्स ऑफ ओरिजिन है, व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ इट, टू कंटेन डंपिंग ऑफ गुड्स. फेयर इनफ. नाउ पोस्ट दिस. This is a graph which you can also refer to, that is the free trade where level of integration is low. It is talking about the economic integration, at what level it is higher and at what level it is low, and at what it is simpler and what it is more complex at the same time. So with that, if we see in the free trade there is reduction of tariff between members. Then custom unions, there will be a common external tariff, जो I have told you कि जो नॉन मेंबर्स है उनके लिए कॉमन एक्सटर्नल टैरिफ होगा. कॉमन मार्केट में फ्री मूवमेंट ऑफ कैपिटल एंड सर्विसेज, डिफरेंट नेशनल रेगुलेशंस. इकोनॉमिक यूनियन में देयर विल बी नो बैरियर ऑन इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड, फ्री मूवमेंट ऑफ लेबर, इन्वेस्टमेंट, टैक्स रेट्स एंड एवरीथिंग विल बी देयर, एंड देयर विल बी अ कॉमन मॉनेटरी एंड फिस्कल पॉलिसी. पार्शियली सम कंट्रीज ऑफ यूरोपियन यूनियन फॉलो द सेम. एंड इफ वी टॉक अबाउट पॉलिटिकल यूनियन, सो देयर विल बी अ कॉमन गवर्नमेंट, जो लार्जली है नहीं कहीं पे. Why I am telling all this to you? Because with this, these are certain key points you need to understand from the series. And post this, the types of regional trade agreements which we have just discussed. So now in a quick recap, let's understand this. The preferential trade agreement, some goods will be given preference for free trade, trade concessions and tariff cuts. ये preferential trade agreement का main motive है जो मैंने अभी आपको बताया था. Along with it, in PTA, 2 or more countries agree to reduce tariffs on agreed number of tariff lines. Fair enough? PTA में क्या होता है? Post this, the positive list, the list of products on which the partners agree to reduce duty. I have just told you about this, and less number of goods are there. Whereas a free trade agreement, that is the second type, is covering more goods than a partial trade agreement. And within the preferential trade agreement, free trade agreement, there is a negative list on which duties are levied. अब इसका एग्जांपल ऐसे समझ लीजिए, अगर 100 गुड्स हैं तो 20 गुड्स पे ड्यूटी फ्री है, तो जब ड्यूटी फ्री है तो ये पॉजिटिव लिस्ट हो जाएगी. और वहीं अगर 100 गुड्स हैं, 20 गुड्स पे ड्यूटी फ्री नहीं है तो ये निगेटिव लिस्ट हो जाएगी. मतलब 80 गुड्स आर ड्यूटी फ्री देयर. ये एक डिफरेंस है दोनों के बीच का. देन थोड़ा और जानते हैं व्हाट इज फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट. The free trade agreement is a pact between two or more nations to reduce trade barriers to import and export among them. That is one part. And little or no government tariffs, quotas, subsidies, or prohibition to inhibit their exchange is there. So these are key points for free trade agreements that you need to know. And this concept is opposite to protectionism, where protectionism में क्या होता है, अपनी इकोनॉमी और डोमेस्टिक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए दे पुट एक्स्ट्रा इंपोर्ट ड्यूटीज, ताकि इंपोर्ट जो है वो डिस्करेज हो. सो इट इज अगेंस्ट दैट, बिकॉज नो गवर्नमेंट या लेस गवर्नमेंट, नील गवर्नमेंट टैरिफ की बात होगी. और दूसरी तरफ ए फ्री ट्रेड पॉलिसी में सिंपली बी एब्सेंस ऑफ एनी ट्रेड रिस्ट्रिक्शंस. सो की पॉइंट्स: absence of trade restrictions, reducing trade barriers, and almost little or no government tariffs. That will be your key points from here. So with this, I hope you understood what is FTA, what is PTA, what is custom union, what is economic market, what is common market, and all the segments you have understood. Along with it, what are certain advantages that you need to know of FTA? The first such is, it allows consumer to access the cheapest good on the world market. Definitely, duty free होगा तो good और cheap होगा. Then it allows countries with relatively cheap labor and resources to benefit from foreign exports, and also allows producers to produce more goods by best utilization of their resources and import of scarce resources as well. So two things are there. First, economic growth and economic cooperation, it is increasing. Also it is giving competitive advantage over it, right? So this was from the FTA aspect. Now there are certain disadvantages also of FTA. You need to know that also. The disadvantages are like, competition with foreign exports may cause local unemployment and business failures. For example, the solar panels or the toys which are coming from China or some other countries are much cheaper than the toys and solar panels which are being manufactured in India. So that may create problem for such industries. Also, industries may relocate to jurisdictions which lacks regulations, causing environmental damage or abusive labor practices. जहाँ पे उनको ज़्यादा benefit मिलेगा, they can go there also within the FTAs. And the third part is, countries may become reliant on the global market. And in case अगर कोई situation ऐसी आ गई जिससे global shock आए या crisis आए, geopolitical crisis आए, so countries may be vulnerable to these global shocks. So this was for the advantage and disadvantage of FTA. And if we talk about India and FTA, so India has signed 13 FTAs till now, and these are the list which you can know and mention at the same time. So with this segment of NewsKase, you need to understand from the answer sheet points. First thing is the difference between preferential trade agreement and free trade agreement. And the another thing is the economic integration and different levels of economic integration. With this aspect, I hope you understood different type of regional trade agreements, and now you are able to understand what is free trade agreement and what are the major benefits. Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll see you again with our NewsKase series. Thank you.